G'day everyone and welcome again to the chat. We all know what the Blue Army is. It's the famous Godolphin colours, and also when they breed, they're called Darley. And joining me today is the Managing Director of Godolphin and Darley Australia, Vin Cox. G'day Vin, how are you?
Yeah, g'day Ben, going well, thank you.
Thanks for taking some time out, no doubt what is a very busy time, obviously being the Managing Director of one of the biggest racing and breeding operations in the world.
I'll define the role slightly for you, Ben. I'm Managing Director here of Godolphin Australia rather than the world, but the world's a big place, and Australia is quite a big part of the operation, but it's a good job, and I enjoy it very much.
And you come from a bit of a bloodstock background, don't you? Originally, you were at Magic Millions before Godolphin. So, where did it all start for you?
Correct. I grew up in the country in central west New South Wales, and my family are very heavily into breeding, non-commercial breeders, bred to race, and so that's where my interest started. And at a young age, I got an opportunity to work at Inglis back in 1989, and I worked there for about 15 years, and then started my own bloodstock agency at the beginning of 2003 as Vin Cox Bloodstock, and did that for about 8 years, and then I was asked to join the Magic Millions back in about halfway through 2011, and was there for, again, about 8 years, and then got offered this role and started here in 2018.
And then when you were at Magic Millions, it just seemed to get bigger and bigger. I've been going for a number of years now. I first met you up there, I reckon, 5 or 6 years ago. It's gone from being like a pretty big sale, but it's even bigger now. And like, I got the catalogue here for the new one. It's so even thicker. And also that race day now is $10 million. It's just huge now, isn't it, compared to when you first started there?
Yeah, look, we had a very good team, a very aggressive team that we wanted to expand the sale and the event. And through the support of Queensland and Events, Racing Queensland, obviously, with the prize money, and the support of our vendors, which allowed us to attract a better buying bench, we're able to grow it organically and fairly rapidly. So there are a number of things at play that brought it all together, but I think probably the one thing was a very unified, united team at Magic Millions that wanted to deliver at a high level. And so we were very proud of what we achieved, and obviously it's still going along very, very strongly under the guidance of Barry Bowditch.
And just back on Godolphin, what is Godolphin's approach at a yearling sale, obviously, because you guys don't buy too many, you breed most of your own. How does all that work?
Yeah, look, we, as you suggest, we breed a number of horses a year. We tend to send about around 150 of our own mares to start to our own stallions, obviously, and we send some mares out to outside stallions. So we ultimately hope to end up with something like 120 foals. And then we step into the yearling market, and over the last few years we've bought between 10 and 15. And we don't, we're not looking for big numbers, so we tend to shoot with a rifle rather than a shotgun. So we get very specific about what we buy, and we do focus on pedigree that's going to hopefully expand our bloodstock profile, our pedigree profile, and increase in value with some nice race results. So that essentially that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for numbers. We're looking for the right sort of stock that complement what we do.
And it must have been a big thrill a couple of years ago then when Exhilarates won the Magic Millions 2-year-old Classic. I remember seeing you in the mounting yard, and you just looked absolutely elated for the whole operation, because previously they hadn't really, done anything like that too much.
Oh, look, it was as exciting a day as I've ever had at work. It was the first year that I'd been working for Godolphin. We'd bought the filly Exhilarates the year before, and I was still running the sale as Managing Director of Magic Millions, but also wearing a Godolphin hat and trying to select a few horses. And we were fortunate enough to pick out Exhilarates and buy her, and the Godolphin team delivered her on the day and winning the Magic Millions. So it was a hugely exciting day. Not only were the Magic Millions team excited for us, but the Godolphin team got a great thrill out of it as well. So it was a wonderful day, and it really, it was one of those days that you dream of, and it just never happens, but that day it did.
And you talk about days, Vin. What's a day in the life like for Vin Cox, Managing Director of Godolphin and Darley, Australia? Any 2 days the same?
There's never a day that's the same. Look, we've got 7 different sites around the country, so I do travel a lot, and I still live on the Gold Coast, albeit I haven't been there for over 3 months now on account of the COVID thing. But a lot of it's travelling through the different sites or keeping in contact with the different sites and whatever the variations and computations and idiosyncrasies of each different site that you have to deal with every day. So in the breeding season, a lot of it's geared around, obviously stallion marketing, or what the stallions are doing, and the mares and the foaling down and that sort of thing. And in behind all of that is race planning and going to the races when we can and working out those sort of things. So it's busy. There's always something on, but it's very enjoyable and very rewarding.
What's it like working for His Highness? Obviously, he's a very passionate racing man.
Look, he loves the thoroughbred and loves horses generally. The operation is, as we've said before, is huge right around the world. There's no doubt that our principal, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, is the largest investor of thoroughbreds around the world. So while I don't talk to him day to day, I get the opportunity to meet with him and or dine with him on occasion in Newmarket and or in Dubai. And look, he's very engaged in what we're doing here in Australia, not only from a Godolphin Australia perspective, but what otherwise is happening in Australia, politically or environmentally. He's fascinated by what goes on down here, and not least following the race results. So he's very passionate, very engaged, and he's a very nice guy. He's very down to earth and just good to work for.
And one of your other hats is you're on the VRC committee. How did that come into being? Because you're not from Victoria, but you sort of travel back and forth to come to Flemington.
Yeah, that was a little bit by accident. I was invited to consider standing for the board, and I had never given it any consideration on account of what you just said. But I felt it was a great opportunity to be a part of. It's a great brand and a great club, and to be on the board and be integral in a lot of key decisions around the VRC and the Melbourne Cup is a great honour. So it wasn't a hard decision. It was a case of fitting the time in and making sure that I could do it due justice. If I say that correctly, but having Godolphin has got 2 significant operations in Victoria, and one being Crown Lodge at Flemington. Carbine Lodge at Flemington, and the other being Northwood Park at Seymour. So it's just a case of integrating that into my sort of day-to-day life.
It's still on Flemington. It was disappointing we couldn't have crowds for the Cup Carnival, but no doubt, hopefully next year we're going to have huge crowds across those 4 days. It's always 4 great days of racing.
Oh, absolutely, and it was no one was more disappointed than the VRC and the board and obviously the membership, and we can't wait to get everyone back to Flemington and enjoy racing for what it is at the best venue in Australia.
And how about the story of Kementari winning in Perth? It certainly copped a bit of social media and media flack, didn't it? It had tongues wagging.
Yeah, it seemed to. He's a horse that within our organisation has got so much charisma and so much character. That it was a great thrill for our organisation. He's had various phases in his career with us, obviously in the early days of training and then retiring to start, and he proved to be all but infertile, and so we brought him back into training after being gelded, and for him to turn up on the racetrack and win such dominant fashion as he did was a great thrill for all those wearing a blue shirt. So he's much maligned, but some would say he deserves it. We love him, and it was great to see.
Your time as a bloodstock agent, when you had your business, Vin Cox Bloodstock, what was your biggest thrill in terms of purchasing or selling a yearling for a client, or just for yourself?
Look, I didn't take a position myself, but it was great to see lots of results at all different levels for various different clients. And I wouldn't say there's any one specific result because, it's not about the most money. Everyone has a level. And when one of your clients might sell a yearling for 150,000, well, for that particular client might be a lot of money. Then again, another client selling a horse for $1 million is a great thrill for them. So nothing specific. We had a good business, a good team. Gary Cuddy, who now heads up Spendthrift, was working with me, and Anna Ryan, who now works for James Harron. The three of us, we worked very hard. We had great success, and we had a great time doing it. And we had a very good and loyal client base that enjoyed what we did for them, and hopefully you got plenty of reward in that regard. So, look, it was a great time, and it was a very sad day when I had to sort of pull the plug on it, as it were, and move up to Magic Millions.
You say it's not about the money. I think a really good thing we've got now is some of these micro-ownership programs like the Racing League, for example, and we also saw the Kentucky Derby winner have a similar model. It's great to see so many more people that usually probably wouldn't, due to financial reasons or other reasons, be involved in racing, be able to have a share in a horse.
Absolutely. And I think what you've touched on is the so many people aspect to it. The more we can spread our tentacles through this, through the wider community, to expose racing and expose what a wonderful sport it is and the people that are involved in the sport, it's just a great thing. And like I say, the more we can expose it widely, the better off we are. And we've got a very good story to tell, and it should be told very loudly.
Obviously, you live on the Gold Coast, so when you're not doing anything racing, how do you like to spend your time?
Yeah, no, we've got my wife Nick and I have got 3 sons, and they've 2 of them are at university and one's still at high school age. We enjoy spending time with them, obviously, and watching their sport. They're very involved in sport. Otherwise, if I'm on my own, I might sneak off and have a game of golf with some friends. But no, it's just nice to have a bit of downtime and just relax a bit. There's always plenty on, so just kicking back isn't the worst thing.
All right, Vin, thanks very much for joining me today. No doubt I'll see you up at the Gold Coast next month.
Good man, Ben. Can't wait to see you up there.
Thank you.